Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video today, I'll be doing a special podcast interview with both Rojas and Next Level Tech. So with all of that being said, let's get started. How's that?
That is
That was
amazing.
awesome. Now, everyone else, welcome back to another Beyond the Streams. As you guys know, we've been doing a couple interviews and we've been having a lot of conversations with a lot of people in different communities. And it's literally, we're just combining so many different aspects of just tech communities together. So if you guys do watch us in the YouTube channel or any of the podcasts, make sure you guys do leave us a comment below. Today we do have a special guest. If you didn't hear that awesome intro, Tech Doctor UK. How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you guys?
We're good.
Amazing.
We're good.
It's nice to be here. Oh, thanks for having me, really, I should say, or I should start with.
Now I wanted to ask, I know with now we're doing a lot of different stuff. With your Tech Doctor UK channel, where are you heading with this channel? Are you gonna broaden more with just general tech, or are you still trying to do with the same thing that you've been doing? What thoughts are you having with your channel right now?
I mean, I do like to, mix it up, as they say. So if there is other content that I could potentially do, I think the main issue I have is just timing. Just trying to, find the time to, research, try things out, and if something works fine, then make a video on it. I think right now there's still plenty of content, in terms of things we can do on streaming devices, things we can do to optimize them, change the launcher, use the expanded storage. There's still lots of potential tutorials I could do to optimize that device. And one of the things I mentioned in one of my previous videos is just because I find a fix today or make something work today, that doesn't mean I just forget about that way, because there's always better ways of doing. And I think the perfect example to that is changing the launcher. So I think one of the first videos I did when I started making tutorial type videos, after I stopped doing the the applications or the APK stuff, was how to change the launcher on your 4K Fire Stick. Actually, no, I think it was actually the second generation Fire Stick, because that's what I was making my videos on first. Now that particular process required you to install, I think 3 or 4 different APKs, and then run, I think, 1 or 2 ADB commands. And yes, it did work, but obviously, it takes a bit of time. It requires, multiple installation files. So fast forward now, we've got the tduk launcher manager, which obviously literally is like one click. You install one application, press one button, choose your launcher, and away you go. But even that, I can't take credit for that. I mean, I understood like the ADB commands and the things we needed to do to make it work, but I didn't have the experience to actually make that into a toolbox or something that anybody else could use. So I then found a developer on XDA who could do it for me. So people say, oh, TDUK, you've done an amazing job here, but the credit really needs to go to the developer, because he actually coded the application. My role was just to simplify the process. So how can we make this process as easy as possible, so anybody can just click on one file and change their launcher or block Amazon updates, or do all the kind of stuff that you may want to do, but you're not confident in doing ADB commands. And that's really how this whole thing about having toolboxes started. And there's still a lot of stuff I've got coming. I'm just trying to test it and get things working and trying things out. So I still think in terms of content, I still will be doing, tutorials on streaming devices. I mean, we've got the new Google Chromecast coming in the UK, I think, the next week or so. So there's obviously stuff we can do on that. There's the TiVo Stream, which is one of my favorite Android TV devices. We've got the new generation Fire Stick Lites. So there's lots of new devices around the corner. So there's always, new things we can do on those devices to really just get the, most from them. So that part's definitely going to stay. In terms of doing other things like, product reviews, I mean, I do have a fairly large backlog of things to review, but again, it's just timings. I mean, for me doing a product review, it never really gets, any good views. I never really gets any, subscribers. So it's just trying to find that balance that, is it worth the effort of me spending a couple of hours trying to review, maybe a box or something, or maybe a retro handheld, which I actually enjoy. And that's actually one of the things I always say yes to, just because I really enjoy retro gaming. But I know that when I actually make that as a review, it's never going to, get good views or gain me any subscribers. So it's just trying to find a balance of what video to do or what to do next, kind of.
Yeah, I've gone away a little bit from. I'm still doing streaming, just not as heavy as I used to. So I'm still every now and then I'll drop something about a good filing store, or they're like, "Hey, this APK is down. Try this one out." My struggle right now has been it's kind of funny. I have so again, when you have like 166,000 subscribers, I'm pretty sure companies see you and they're just like, "Hey, can you review this massager gun, or can you review this cable?" And or
Yeah, yeah,
so they see that number and they're like, "Oh my gosh." And they're just like, "Wait, this is a tech channel. Let me send you anything that's related to tech." You know, I think what I've done is, and my channel has suffered. I've noticed it a lot this year. I was just like, you know what, I need to start changing a lot of stuff around. Um, yeah, I'll put a lot of time into whatever that I'm playing with. Like, for me, I like a lot of the DJI products. So
okay,
DJI Osmo Action is, for me, I think it's better than the GoPro camera. So I did a video on it, and I'm over here with like 500, 600 views. I
mm.
was like, okay. And then I'm just like, hey, TV Zion is gone.
That,
20,000 views.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm like, come on, guys. I'm like, really? I was like, okay. I'm like, I need to hit a certain algorithm, because I think with my channel, because a lot of the bulk of my subscribers are from the K app. So now that I'm doing, even getting into APKs, it's not how it used to be. Like, if I did the best build, or if I did the best add-on, like easy, 100,000
mm,
views, no problem.
mm.
Then now it's like, well, let me do what's a hot topic right now. Okay, TV Zion's down. Let me do a thing on TV Zion. And it's just like, okay, I got like 2,000, 4,000 views. I'm like, okay, here's a TV Zion replacement, 10,000 views. Okay. Here's the Nvidia Shield's new update, 1,000 views. I'm like, wait, what? Really?
Yeah,
So
that's true.
it varies, but I've been experiencing that struggle, um, again, because the bulk of my subscribers they're not here for all the general tech stuff. But I'm like, I gotta do it eventually, or YouTube's eventually gonna catch up. So I'm mixing a lot of the stuff with what you're definitely doing with reviewing all the different devices, and I'm kind of saying yes to a lot of companies like, hey, can you review this? Send it my way. I'll do it, whatever.
Mm.
I heard you mention that the TiVo is one of your favorite devices. That's not being sold in your area of the world, is it?
It's not. It's not. So I actually bought it from eBay.com. So via international shipping and extortionate import fees. I think in total it cost me, $150. But I really wanted to get it because it was like a brand new device,
Right.
running official Android TV. It's got Type C USB port. It really has a lot going for it. It has 2 gigs RAM, very fast, capable processor. Unfortunately, it's plagued by quite a lot of software bugs, but for $50, which I think is the price that you guys would pay, I think it's a very capable device.
I've seen a lot of the videos on your channel are about the Fire Stick or Fire devices, and I would have assumed that that would have been your favorite brand or your favorite pile of devices. What was your first Android box that you started playing around with, where you said, "This is kind of cool. I'm really interested about this"? Was it a first generation Fire Stick? Because a lot of people have talked about the first device to get them into the community was a first generation Fire Stick. What was the first device that you got playing with, and uh, what keeps you coming back to the Amazon products? I think that's kind of interesting.
So the first streaming device that I purchased was the first generation Fire Stick with that really tiny remote control, the really small
Mhm.
one.
Mhm.
So I started using that and trying to make tutorials on that. And even though the device was severely underpowered, it worked really well. So I ended up buying the second generation Fire TV, the one that has the USB port, has the Ethernet, the one that looks like a flat kind of like rectangle box. the really powerful one. And that was actually my main streaming device in my house. So even though I wasn't actually making any tutorials on it, because that was kind of like my main device downstairs, all the stuff I was doing was on that first generation Fire TV stick. And then when the second generation came out with the Alexa, voice remote, that was a massive jump. So then I purchased that and I started doing tutorials on that, and that was kind of like my main thing. And then I think around about that time, I started looking at Android boxes. I was thinking which was the first one. It was like an unknown. Oh no, was it a Tanix? I think it was either a Tanix brand or maybe one of those unknown Chinese brands from, I think it was Banggood or from GearBest.
Yeah.
I mean, it had like, I think 2 gigs RAM or maybe even 4 gigs RAM, but yeah, as we know with these Chinese boxes, they're just very unreliable, and like you always have bugs in the UI. You hardly ever get updates. Whereas with the Amazon devices, and which is one of the reasons why I keep coming back to them, is even the second generation Fire TV stick and the Fire TV, even they're still receiving updates today. I mean, like, so they recently did the update where they broke the accessibility service on those devices. But the point being is, even though it's such an old device, Amazon, will still give you updates. Whereas when you buy these cheap unknown boxes or these Chinese boxes, even though they have good specs and they can be quite good, one of the biggest issues you have is you're hardly or very unlikely to get any kind of software updates, to it. And plus, then you also don't have any of the certifications for Netflix or Prime 100%. Video or YouTube. So yes, I think for the price point, I think Amazon devices are very good, and I use them all over my house.
You did say something about the Fire TV box, the thin one.
Yeah, the Fire. Okay. I think it's called the Fire. I think it's called the second generation Fire TV. Yeah. It's the one that's got 2 gigs RAM. It's got the Ethernet port. It's got full size USB and a micro SD card slot. Mm-hmm. And the performance of that, it kills like the 4K Fire Stick, for example. Yeah. But unfortunately, it is running Fire OS 5, which is Android 5.1. Yeah. And one of the big limitations of that is you obviously can't install some of the newer software.
Yeah, I was highly disappointed with Amazon when they dropped that and went over to the Firecube.
Okay. And first generation.
The first gen, I hated that Firecube with a passion. I did not. I was so against that cube. I'm like, how can you go with this box that is so powerful? I didn't have any issues with it, and yeah, I get this cube that it was just, for me, it was buggy. There was some weird lags to it. The remotes were unsyncing left and right. There's just so much stuff I just didn't like about that cube. And then this guy over here, he was like, but have you seen the new one? And he told me about this, I think back in May or June this year. He was just like, you need to check out the second gen. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, no, I'm like, the first gen was just so bad. I'm like, the 4K Fire Stick works just fine. I have no means to go to the second gen. I just don't like it, and I don't want to do a video, and I don't like it. If the product doesn't work good, then I just don't do the video. I just send it back. If the product works, even if I don't like the product, but it works and there's people asking for it, then I'll do the video. So I got that second gen cube, and that completely changed my mind about the cube. Now I'm just like, okay, this one's way better than the first gen. It's snappier than the 4K Fire Stick. Yeah. Is just, everything is just a much better experience on this new cube. Now, the question I got for you though is, with Amazon that just dropped all their new products, were you expecting the next gen 4K Fire Stick or a third gen Firecube?
So I think because I've got the second generation Fire TV Cube as well, and I agree, it is a very powerful device, much snappier than the 4K Fire Stick. It's also running Android 9.1, which means we have that easy to expand the USB storage that's built into the operating system. It's a great device. I mean, it does have its own bugs where you have the tile issue where sometimes your third-party applications don't show their tiles properly. But the actual CPU in that second generation Fire TV Cube, it beats the Nvidia Shield, I think, for quite a few of the tests. It's only the GPU tests
Yep.
that the Nvidia wins on, but this cube is actually really good. But I think because it's still fairly new, I wasn't expecting a refresh from Amazon just yet. I was expecting an update to the 4K Fire Stick just because I think it has been like, I think 2 years now since it's been out. It has been 2 years, okay, fine. So it's been 2 years, and it is a very, very popular device. So, maybe giving us maybe a little bit more RAM, maybe giving us a Type-C USB port, maybe giving us Android 9. These all would have been really welcomed upgrades to that device, but unfortunately we didn't get it. We just got these other sticks instead, which I have tried. I've got the Fire Stick Lite myself, and I do see a market for it, and I think Amazon are going to sell a lot of them, because I mean, for $30 you have a device that can, has all of the certifications for Netflix, for YouTube, for Prime Video. It can handle all 1080p content without any problem. You're guaranteed to get those software updates. So to get a device like that for $30, I think it's I certainly would recommend. I would recommend that over any cheap Chinese Android box.
It's interesting what Amazon has been able to do with software and hardware versus some of the other knockoff devices we've seen on the market that'll come with 4 times the amount of RAM. You know what I mean? So when we first started, I know Rojas hasn't done a review, but I'm gonna have to ruin it for him. But it's amazing what they can do with 1 gig of RAM.
It's so true. So true.
It blew my mind how well this device actually ran and runs. And there's a lot of people in the community is that as soon as the specs were released and you could read about it, everybody was like, "This is garbage. Don't buy it." And I was actually relieved and happy to see you come out with a video and talking praise about it. You know what I mean? Because there is so many good things that come out of a device like this. To 100%. Take the same processor and GPU and technically the same RAM and put it on all of their Fire Sticks, right? And just optimize them differently so that they work well in different scenarios was such a good marketing decision. I've talked in some of my videos about how a lot of these big companies have kind of squeezed as much revenue and sales as they could out of the main areas, and they're starting to break into like South Asia, where you have 1.3 to 2 billion people that are just getting into smart technology, right? They don't necessarily have 4K devices.
4K TVs, that's right, yeah.
And it's such a, I talk about saying it's not time for innovation. It's time for value and budget to get everybody kind of on an equal playing field. And that's how you continue brands to grow. So I was pretty happy that, we need more content creators that are looking for that value, because there's so many people that are just getting involved into the tech industry now. So I thought it was a really good video that you did there, and really good moves from Amazon. Of course, for myself, I was looking for a low-end device or a stick, and then I was looking for them just to bump up the RAM and the ROM on the 4K Fire Stick. And I wasn't looking for a new cube per se, because I'm pretty happy with the processor, but I was hoping after hearing about Luna that they would come out with a bundle with the new Luna remote. That's what I was hoping for. But, I do also think that they rushed the announcement to beat the Google's event that happened on the 30th, because strategically they released these devices on the 30th, the same day as the Chromecast that was announced, right? And I'm hoping that sometime around October 13th, when Prime Day happens, they might sneak something in. I'm hoping. I don't know. Maybe I'm just holding my breath. What's kind of your viewpoint on that? Do you think they might do kind of a hush event closer to Prime Day, or?
I don't know if they'll release another. As in, do you mean if they'll release another device on Prime Day?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they'll do that. I think they'll probably just see, because they will obviously reduce the prices for these devices. So I think they're going to sell lots of them. I know also in the UK, FreeTech done a video on the Fire Stick Lite as well, and he also thought it was a good device. I think like you're saying, when people just look at the specs and think, oh, this has only got 1 gig RAM, it must be a rubbish device, but it's not like that at all. So really, you have to try the device out, and in the use case that you have, like for example, in my spare bedroom for example, I only have a 1080p TV, and all I want to do is just watch 1080p content, then in that particular scenario, that Fire Stick Lite is perfect. It's $30, does all of the things I want, and also because it has the Fire OS 7, it means I can easily expand that storage. So plug in a USB stick, I can now plug in a 128 gig USB drive, install all of my favorite applications, I can download content onto that. That kind of ease, that kind of convenience for $30, I think it's a great device. And I think it definitely will sell. Even if they drop the price from 30 to something else, like maybe 25 or even $20, I want to buy a couple, because I think they're very good devices. Maybe it's like a holiday stick, or something you could just use for the kids' bedroom or something. I think Amazon have done a very good move.
There's a couple speculations in the community, because now we have 3 Fire Sticks on the market at 3 different price points. People are speculating that the, I guess, decrease when sales happen might not be as large as we've seen in the past. What do you think about that going forward as we're going into Prime Day now?
So just help me understand. So we got the 4K Fire Stick, which is obviously the current one.
Yeah.
We have the Fire Stick Lite, which is the one which has the basic remote control.
Yeah.
Then we have the exact same stick, but with the upgraded remote control, which is the Fire Stick 3. Mm-hmm. I mean, to be honest, I do think it would have been good if Amazon included that remote. I mean, yes, have a Fire Stick Lite with that 1080p max resolution and only 1 gig's RAM compared to the 1.5 gigs, but I think they would have potentially sold a lot more if they just included that remote control with those extra features. I'm not really sure how this is gonna pan out with the sales of having 2 sticks very similar, because you can actually use the same remote control on any of the sticks. So even if you have an older 2nd generation FireTv stick with the Alexa remote control, you could use that on any stick.
Yeah. And then the only difference between the Lite and the 3rd gen stick is Dolby, and that's it.
Yes, that's good. Yes. Yeah. So again, for example, if you don't watch anything in Dolby Digital or Dolby, does it have Dolby Atmos as well, or?
I don't think it has any Dolby. You get it through pass-through, but not native.
Not native. Okay, fine. So again, depending on your use case, if all you're doing is using third-party applications or free streaming apps, well, you're never really going to find that kind of digital audio anyway. What's the big loss of just getting the Fire Stick Lite?
Yeah,
and also too is a lot of people don't have the surround sound to support all that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So
it goes back to what's your use case. It's not just a case of what's the best streaming stick for $50. Well, what do you want to do for $50? Do you want to watch Netflix in HD? Do you want to have easy accessibility for your expanding storage? Do you just want to stream from reel to bridge? So I think it does kind of go back to what's the actual use case for these people that are looking to purchase these new devices.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. So I'm a huge fan of Amazon products. I always have been. And I get people that'll come to me all the time and they'll say, I'm looking for a device that's better than the 4K Fire Stick. What would you recommend? My immediate response to that is always, well, what is the 4K Fire Stick not doing for you? Because you can look at devices that are costing you $200 and devices like the Fire Stick that can cost you $50, $60, $70, depending on what country you're in, what currency, whatever. But the only way to find the right device for you is to understand what you're looking for, right? And that's where a lot of the educating needs to be done, I guess, on our behalf as content creators, to really break that stigma that, a $30 device cannot get you by. Because those days are kind of gone now with the new $30 sticks that are coming out. We've had $30 devices, Android boxes for years, devices with 8 gigs of ROM and 1 gig of RAM. Right. Mm-hmm. And we used to fight with those all the time. Right. And now when people bring that to us to say, can you update this or can you fix this? We kind of like just laugh at them and be like, no, don't give me that device. Yeah. So I think this, I guess going into 2021 now, it's almost like breaking that stigma because the quality of the hardware and software has gotten so much better. It's crazy. So I think that's one of the main things is people need to start understanding what are you looking for from your device?
Yeah.
Because as I always say, the 4K Fire Stick is the best value that's out there. And I think you pretty much said that as well earlier in the
I do.
interview here.
It's only if like somebody says, I'm looking for the best value, streaming device for about $50. It has to have Netflix in 4K, has to have, all these things. The only thing is it cannot be an Amazon device. So if it's that kind of requirement, then I would recommend maybe looking at the TiVo Stream 4K, which is similar price. You get all of the certifications, but it's running Android TV instead of, Fire OS.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now,
just talking about the certifications, I had my FireTv, the second generation, the one that's the beast, for ages. And the only reason I changed from it wasn't a case of, oh, it's running a bit slow, because that never runs slow. It wasn't a case of like it didn't have anything that, from a software perspective, like it wasn't like I couldn't install an application on there that I needed, because the stuff I needed, it worked fine on that device. The only reason I changed it was because it didn't support HDR10, or was it 10 plus? And if you are looking at the more recent HDR type content, unfortunately, those standards or those certifications, it just didn't exist on that device. Which is why, with a heavy heart, I had to unplug that device and plug in a 4K Fire Stick for my main streaming device downstairs.
And for those people that are particular about quality, you'll see it. I mean, you'll see a difference in quality even if you go from one of the sticks to the second generation Cube. You'll see that like right away. So
now, how come you don't recommend the Nvidia Shield?
So I've got the Nvidia Shield Pro, but again, it's mainly just to do tutorials on. And if you are going to say, or if you're going to ask, hey, Tech Doctor, give me an Android TV device. I'm looking to do emulation. I'm looking to run a Plex server. What do you recommend? Then certainly I'm not going to recommend a TiVo Stream or one of these other Android TV. Straight away I would say get the Shield, or get the Shield Pro. If you're not looking to do emulation or run Plex server, get the Shield Tube Edition. If you really want to do everything, go for the. But I think for the majority of people, the majority of streamers, all they want to do is just open up Netflix or open up Prime Video or open up one of these APKs. For that, it's overkill, to be honest. I mean, yes, like it's a very nice device. It's very fast. It's got great remote control. But comparing a $200 device, I mean, actually, how much is the Shield Pro at the moment from where you guys are?
yeah, 200.
Like
Okay, fine. So around about $200. I mean, yes, the TiVo Stream is only $50, but the difference from 50 to 200, the Shield is not that much better than the TiVo to justify the extra $150. Yes, it's faster. It's got XYZ more. But to justify an extra $150 for all you want to do is just Netflix and YouTube and a bit of streaming, I personally think it's overkill.
Yeah. Now, I was going to ask you about the gaming part, and I'm really glad you actually said the emulator portion and all that. So Amazon has their new Luna gaming platform. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts on that?
So I haven't looked too much into it, but I do understand that cloud-based gaming, I do believe, is the future. I think just having the convenience of being able to play your favorite game, from your cell phone or wherever you are, you don't have to worry about installing things or configuring things. Literally, just start your streaming application, your game streaming application, and start enjoying your stuff. I definitely think it's the future, and clearly Amazon and all the other big players, they see the future in this, which is why they're investing millions and millions of pounds into it. And actually, I bought the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate because there's some special promotion going on. So basically, for I think $5 or $6 per month now, I get access to I think 100 or so free PC games that are constantly updated. If I had an Xbox, I'll get free games on the Xbox, and I also get access to their cloud-based streaming, which is Project xCloud. So now from my Android phone, for example, I can start the Xbox Game Pass application and play games like Doom or Forza Horizon. All those games I can actually stream onto my phone, and it actually works remarkably well. Of course, there's going to be some input lag, but for a quick game here or there, I think it's pretty impressive. And it's only something that's going to improve as the technology improves, as networking improves, as the infrastructure and the backend improves. It's only going to get better and better. And I think Amazon realized that, which is why they also want a piece of that pie.
Yeah. Now, so next level, and I have had these conversations with Luna and with the different devices. Nvidia Shield's got their GeForce. And
GeForce now, yep.
Yeah. So we were kind of like speculating, like what would make you happy if they came up with a new Firecube third gen. And for me, I was like, they need to make, because I don't see Luna on the Lite. I don't see Luna. I don't know how it's going to react to the Lite. We still got to wait and see till it comes out, the Fire Stick Lite. But what I was really thinking about was that the Firecube has a lot of power right now, and with some of these games that are coming out, some of the processing, you need to have some really good power for these games just to run smooth. So one of the things I know with the Firecube, it has a hexacore.
Yes, that's right.
I was like, bump that sucker up to an octa-core. Give me 8, and then it does have 3 gigs of RAM. I'm like, just give me the 4. Give me 4 gigs of RAM. And then with the internal memory, leave it at 16. Put the new chipset, the latest chipset that's out there, and then do some sort of bundle. Like, they could probably sell the Cube with that remote, the Luna remote, for like $170, and that could almost be a direct competition to the Nvidia Shield with their gaming platform. With the Nvidia Shield without the remote, you're talking about almost $200. When you add the remote, now you're talking about 230 or 240, whatever it is. It starts getting up there. So it's just like, wait, this could be, I think, so we have the Telegram groups. One of my subscribers that follows me says, when you guys were comparing to the Shield and then talking about this new unexistent Firecube 3rd gen with all these specs, they're like, that could be almost like a poor man's Nvidia Shield with a hell of a lot of power.
Well, here's the thing for me though. It's like the 2nd gen Firecube is running the top of the line CPU that's on the market right now, right? And just because it's hexacore doesn't mean that it's not capable of pushing what it needs to push. Where it lacks, which we all agree upon, is GPU performance, right? But if all the GPU rendering and performance is done in the cloud, then can it not give the Shield a run for its money, depending on latencies? That's the big thing.
Yeah, I mean, I really wish on the 2nd generation FireTv Cube that they included an Ethernet port, like a real hard, ideally gigabit Ethernet, because I've tried GeForce Now on my Shield, and I think I tried it over wireless, and even though it was 5 gigahertz wireless, the difference from that compared to a hardwired gigabit Ethernet cable is night and day. You just always get much more consistent, reliable performance when you're using a wire compared to wireless. And if the Firecube is going to be used as a potential streaming platform, they need to really include, a physical Ethernet port. I know obviously they bundle it with that adapter, but the adapter, it plugs in via the USB 2 micro USB port. So the USB 2 has that limitation where you can only push, I think, 480 meg. Whereas obviously on the Shield, you've got a hardwired dedicated gigabit port. So, if you really want to take streaming seriously, game streaming, then they should really think about adding a physical Ethernet port on that device. And of course, bumping up the GPU. But as you say, the whole point of streaming is you don't need to do that graphic processing on your own device. I mean, I'm actually a big fan of shadow cloud gaming. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. So I did a video on this back in last year. And essentially, I mean, it's not really game streaming per se, but it's essentially your own powerful Windows 10 computer in the cloud, which has at a minimum a Nvidia GTX 1080. So on this Windows 10 machine that I can access from my cell phone or from my PC, you log into it using the Shadow client, and then you're literally looking at your own desktop or on your cloud desktop. So on this desktop now, I've installed my games that I play. I can install Steam or Origin or EA or whichever different gaming engines you use. You install the games in your Shadow VM. So now, for example, I can play like Call of Duty Modern Warfare on maximum settings on my netbook. So even though the netbook has onboard graphics, like Intel onboard graphics, because all of that processing is being done by the GTX 1080 in that cloud. All I'm getting back is just those screen refreshes. So long as your tablet or your your PC has a good enough stable internet connection, you can enjoy these AAA titles from pretty much wherever you are. So that's
Yeah.
also like something else, which is not a direct comparison to, because obviously with the game streaming, you're paying a subscription or you're paying for a service where you're accessing a predefined library of games. Like GeForce Now, they have these games this month, or Stadia has. I think with Stadia you have to buy some games. I think that's a bit different, but the difference with Shadow is all you're paying for is just access to this high powerful machine. Then it's up to you to install wherever you want in there. So, for example, I know some people use their Shadow VM to do live streaming. So their own PC is not powerful enough, but they use that PC in the cloud to stream their games, or do OBS or whatever they want to do. So you guys should check that out if you just want to see. Or I mean, maybe I'll send you guys a link to the video, but it's pretty impressive for. And then I think that the cheapest tier, where you get the GTX 1080, it cost I think it's $12 a month. So $12 a month, you have access to this
Wow.
very powerful computer with that GTX 1080 that you can access from anywhere.
And the GTX 1080 graphics cards are actually really good still.
Even still, exactly. Even today, you can pretty much play all of the current titles at least at 1080p.
Yeah.
So, and for most people, that's that's enough.
That's all you really need. I mean, people want to think they need a graphic card that can put out in 4K, but who's really using 4K monitors? And even if you do have a 4K monitor, what kind of refresh rates are you getting out of it? Like,
That's true. Yeah.
most people wouldn't even notice a difference if they were running at 1080p and 4K because their monitor outputs at 1080p.
Yeah, exactly.
Most people, right? So that's the funny thing. I guess we're talking so much about gaming. I'm looking at Luna, and I'm so curious what they're going to do with integration with Twitch, because Amazon owns Twitch, right? Do you think that we're going to have a lot more Twitch content creators that are going to be inspired and just appear out of nowhere because every Fire TV device out there is going to be linked to Twitch and linked to Luna all of a sudden? Do you think it's going to be something that it's just going to form naturally once they release the service and once they connect everything with Twitch?
I think this whole thing about gaming and game streaming and these esports, I think clearly Amazon, Facebook, they're all seeing the value of supporting game creators or game streamers, because they know there's big money in that. I mean, the only person I really watch, I know Doc Squiffy also does game streaming now on Facebook Gaming, which I believe was I think previously it was called Mixler. And I think that was owned by Microsoft, and then I think it was sold to Facebook or something like that anyway. So I know he streams on there, and I think his channel is growing, or his page is growing on there. But the only other person I watch on YouTube is Dr. Disrespect.
Yeah.
Now that guy is just like seriously entertaining. You can he's just very like humorous and like has a lot of personality. But the kind of views that he gets and the kind of concurrent viewers that he gets, they can see, these companies can see there's a big market for game streaming, and people supporting their creators, people sending in donations. So the more integration they can have with all of their products. So if I'm a Facebook person or if I'm a Twitch person, I can now use my new Luna device, and with one button I'm now streaming. I don't know how to stream, I don't know how to set up my microphone, but because of that integration with the Amazon ecosystem, I'm sure they'll make that as easy as possible, because the more people they can get onto that streaming platform, the more revenue they can potentially generate.
100%.
So it's definitely the future. I think that's definitely where things are heading.
So 2021, we're looking at the YouTube channel Game Doctor UK to turn into Dr. Disrespect of Amazon Luna. It's going to be a bunch of videos in the style of Dr. Disrespect, all about Amazon Luna.
I think I need to get a wig, because I think my hair is.
I'm pretty sure he wears a wig too.
I was saying just to like copy him, but yeah. So I created those channels. I actually created a PC Doctor UK and also a Game Doctor UK, just to like have a different outlet. But yeah, I think like if you enjoy gaming, and if you can find an audience that enjoys watching you game, then it's a win-win, because you're enjoying yourself because you're gaming, and then you're also gaining an audience. So I think that's a good combination.
Definitely. Like, as a creator, we start making these tutorial videos, and people start watching one after another, and they come back and they start following and they start commenting, and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you see, like actually went back to the one of my first live streams that I did when I hit 1,000 subscribers, and I seen people commenting there that are still commenting on my live streams today, right? Because you build your kind of own little community and you
You do, you
recognize
do.
people in there. So it's such an interesting thing that people want to get to know you past your tutorials. They want to get you to know you past your fire sticks, your TiVos, and your shields, and when you're sitting back, relaxing, playing games, sharing your interests and your hobbies, they're actually interested in getting to know more of you. And it's just the natural evolution of us as creators. The more that we share of ourselves, is the more interested people are to get to know us and support us in as many different ways as they possibly can. I know I never could have imagined the amount of support that I would have gotten way before when I first got started. Because like I stumbled into this, right? I didn't know I was going to get a bunch of views dropping a Showbox video like I talked about, right? And now I have people that religiously come out to my live shows. You know, there's those people that do the super chats and the donations, and like it's not something that you expect. And every time they come through, it's like, I guess I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be in front of this camera. I'm supposed to be talking to these people. It's such a wild ride.
Yeah, that is kind of like positive, like affirmation that what you are doing, you are giving value to people. People are enjoying, seeing you on the screen, listening to you, learning your knowledge, getting your tips and experience. So them are they, regularly joining your chat or contributing or, always leaving comments. It's kind of like a two-way thing. So you're both sort of supporting each other, and I definitely think 100% the community is very, very great. And just like you, I always get pretty much any video I release, there's always at least 10 or so people that I can guarantee will always leave a comment, even if it's just like a thumbs up. The fact that they've taken that time out to give that emoji or whatever it is, it's still like I still appreciate it. And back in the day when I was like I think when I had under 50k subs, I would actually make it as a thing to reply to every single comment, just because I always thought these guys are taking time out to leave a comment, then the least I could do is respond. But obviously then as you get bigger, it is very difficult to respond to all of them.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I still try to respond, and sometimes I'm like, sorry, it's just too much.
Yeah, and then some of them where they say like it's not working. So I've just done like a 15-minute tutorial, and the comment you got is it's not working. Well, which part's not working? Is it the beginning? Is it the application install? Is it the ADB command? Where like, so then how much time can I spend now? Like going to and fro saying, did you try this? What's not actually working? Do you get an error message? So it is what it is. I guess it's just one of those things when you are doing this kind of content. There's always going to be comments like
It's
that.
kind of a limitation of YouTube, right? Because I know for myself, I spend a lot more time trying to create a community outside of YouTube versus actually on YouTube. Because if someone's going to respond to me with it's not working, well, it's very difficult to go back and forth to do all that. So for instance, I have a Telegram group with about 1,300 people in it. So I tell everyone to come over and join the Telegram group, because if you come in and say it's not working, if I'm not there that second, you have 1,300 other people that are going to be like, what's not working? You know what I mean? It's about building that community that are willing to help each other, right? And that's not something that you can really do on the YouTube platform. Like it'd be really interesting that if channels had an ongoing side chat that you could just pop in and out of or something.
Yeah, like a rolling chat, Yeah. That would actually be a really good idea, actually. Yeah, especially for tutorial videos, because you could literally just dip in, see what the current question is, leave a comment or add to the chat, and when somebody else comes in after you, they can just scroll up and see the conversation in real time. So that would actually be a really interesting feature.
Yeah. Now, and we know you briefly said you do have two other channels, PC Doctor UK and Game Doctor UK. Are you going to be doing anything more with those two channels?
So Game Doctor, probably not anytime soon, just because I just don't have much time to do gaming stuff. But PC Doctor, I would, and I'm planning. I literally do have I think a backlog of about 15 things I need to record, but it's just trying to find the time for it. And the thing is, the PC Doctor stuff, the PC stuff is literally I could do it very, very quickly, because that's the kind of background I have with technology and IT in general. Making tutorials on PCs or computing or networking or that kind of stuff is I could do very, very quickly, but it's just again trying to find the time. So if I have an hour to make a video, I could make a video for PC Doctor and maybe get 100 views, or I could spend some time doing some research and maybe releasing one for the TDUK channel and maybe getting a couple of thousand views. And normally I always go for the latter just because I'm actually seeing some growth on there, whereas on the other side it's still in the early days.
Yeah, for sure. So, oh man, so time flew big time.
Oh wow, okay. Okay. So that's already been it's time flies when you're having fun, when you're enjoying the conversation.
Right.
Definitely. No, this is awesome. One of the things we normally like to ask towards the end of the show, if there's anything that you would like to tell the listeners, the viewers, whoever is out there, we normally ask whatever you want to say. This is your time to pretty much say whatever you want. So go for it.
I would like to say I should have prepared for this because I didn't know this was going to be asked. I think the message I'd like to give to the community is just we really appreciate your support. Yes, we make videos, yes, we make tutorials, yes, we do reviews, but if nobody's watching that content, if nobody's liking those videos, if nobody's sharing those videos, if nobody's leaving those comments, then it kind of means like you're producing your content for nobody. But the fact that we have that reliable community, or that regular community that always respond to comments or leave comments, they always share our content, they always like our content, I just want to say it's really appreciative, and we really can't just thank you enough. So many thanks for all of your support. We really appreciate it, and us making videos for you is just our way of saying thanks. And we hope that you enjoy our content and stick around, because there's always something new around the corner.
Yeah.
It's crazy that we see more and more people that are trying to become content creators than ever before. And I see a lot of people that are starting YouTube channels now, and there's a lot of people in the streaming community that were part of chats and comments.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're starting to create their own channels, and they're starting to grow and kind of put more of their personality and put themselves out there. Even for myself, I'm only at about 34,000 subscribers. What advice do you have for anybody who's just starting to get into the streaming community in regards to content creating, or even someone in regards to myself, where I'm sitting at about 34,000 subscribers? What advice would you give them, or what's helped you along the way?
That's a very good question. I would say for somebody starting out, let's say you are a new content creator and you're getting into streaming, or you want to make streaming tutorials, or that kind of stuff. I would say initially don't worry too much about the numbers. Very rarely you're going to get like one video, other than your Showbox one. Yeah. But I'm saying typically for somebody starting out now, because unfortunately the market is very saturated. It really is hard to be heard on YouTube at the moment. And it's one of those things where YouTube do seem to reward quantity over quality. So as long as you're making regular content, don't be too worried that this is not the perfect tutorial, it's not the perfect camera angle or the perfect audio. Just keep making regular tutorials or regular videos. Get that content regularly out there. Don't worry too much about the numbers, the views, the subscribers. As long as you keep making regular content, that stuff will eventually come. And for you, next level, I mean, you said you had what, 34,000?
About 34,000, yeah.
So the way I see it is, as long as you're, continuously growing, even if it's like, 5 subs or wherever it is a month, I still think that's a positive growth. Just enjoy the ride. There's no rush. As long as you still enjoy making those videos, just the numbers will keep on going up. Now, it's different if, for example, you're saying, every month I'm losing 100 subscribers. What should I do? Because then it's a different advice. Then maybe you need to look at your content, maybe look at changing things up. But the way I see it, as long as your channel is continuously growing, I think it's all positive. Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Amazing advice. I mean, you just got to keep doing what you love. and
Yeah.
helping the people that mean something to you, right? We all have knowledge and experiences and a personality to share with everybody. And this is a great platform to do it. And you just got to figure out the ins and outs of it. And that's it, right?
Yeah, and definitely don't be shy to reach out to other YouTubers. I mean, when I started out, when I had I think around about 10K or so subscribers, I think the first thing I was really stuck with was I think I wanted to do a giveaway for 10,000 subscribers, and I didn't know like what's the best way to host a competition, how to do the the postage if it's international post and all that kind of stuff. And I remember I reached out to I think about 15 different YouTubers, but I think only one replied, which was Top Tutorials or TT Technology. But then I got to like know him over time and stuff, and then since then I've got to know some other YouTubers. So just ask around, ask other YouTubers, other YouTubers when they ask me stuff. I'm always happy to help, because the way I see it, if I can bring somebody up, if I can help somebody out, it's a win-win. I don't see it as like a competition to me or anything like that. I just see it as like something positive that I can do. Then maybe when they get slightly bigger and somebody asks them, they'll think, oh, you know what, Tech Doctor helped me out. Maybe I should help out this other guy as well. And that's how you build that kind of positive community with other content creators. So it's not just about bitching or drama or fighting.
Exactly.
We can all we can all grow together.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man, that's some really good advice. On behalf of Beyond the Streams, we're excited that you came here, and we want to thank you for coming and having a chat with us. It's been it's good stuff. I hope anybody who's been out there listening to us maybe learned something. I hope.
Well, I mean, from my side, I definitely enjoyed coming on. It was really good to speak to both of you, find out some more information about you. You asked some very good questions as well, so that was also good. So, no, I really appreciate you guys having me. So many thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks, man. So one of the last things we tell here, the subscribers, is you guys take care, and you take care of each other.
Stay humble and be patient, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
See you guys, man. Take care.